This is the fifth of a multi-session presentation that is designed to teach you how to have mental and emotional fitness. In previous sessions, we talked about why truly effective emotional management is so important to everyday life, how it's considered to be the most important of all life skills. We listed 4 cognitive life skills that would give you truly effective emotional management. They are having unconditional self-acceptance, or USA, and unconditional other acceptance, or UOA, developing an internal locus of control, recognizing and correcting irrational thinking in yourself and others, and 4, a step-by-step approach to potentially troublesome life events that helps you get into the best possible cognitive and emotional place and allows you to make the best possible behavioral or lifestyle choice for yourself and others. Last time we talked about how to develop unconditional self and other acceptance. The second important life skill is to develop an internal locus of control. So why is developing an internal locus of control so important? The simple answer is it's because the type of locus of control someone has is a major factor in determining the frequency, intensity, and duration of any emotion they generate. Locus of control is the term used for where people see their feelings as coming from, what they see as the cause of those feelings. People can have either an external or internal locus of control, or sometimes it's called an inner locus of control. To understand the difference between the two, it helps to see anything that someone else says or does, or that happens in our lives, as just being an event for us. Calling what others say or do or what happens an event is not intended in any way to be discounting or of the importance of some events to people's lives. No one would walk up to a grieving person at a funeral and say it's just an event. However, if we want to better understand how emotions come about and how better emotional management, and to have better emotional management, it helps to use the term event when referring to things that happen in our lives that we get upset about. People call events all kinds of things: problems, tragedies, trouble, mistakes, accidents, failures, challenges, opportunities, surprises, or success, just to name a few. What people choose to call an event in their lives doesn't change what happened. It just causes them to generate more or less emotion, which in turn just makes it either easier or harder for them to deal with. The important point is that most people have what is called an external locus of control, usually without realizing it. They sincerely believe that what others say and do, or what happens, makes them feel the way they do, and is the cause of whatever feelings they have. If we were to write a formula for how they see their feelings coming about, it would be something like event equals their feelings. There are a couple understandable reasons why people might sincerely believe that events of their lives make them feel the way they do and are the real cause of how they feel. First, feelings often occur so quickly after events that it's hard to imagine that there could be any intervening variable. Sometimes people even start getting angry, for example, about something someone else is saying or doing before the person even finishes saying or doing it. Second, most people believe and will say that they wouldn't have felt the way they did if that particular event hadn't happened. There is some truth to that reasoning. If someone hadn't died, you wouldn't be sad about them dying. It's perfectly understandable that people would get upset about some events, like the passing of a loved one. However, people get upset all the time about things that haven't happened and that they simply imagined have or that will. You don't really need a real event to occur for someone to get upset. And not everyone gets upset about the same things or as upset as others about a given event when it does occur. So there's more to the story than just having an event occur. The third reason that they believe events cause their feelings is simply that everyone else around them looks at it that way and talks as if events do in fact cause how they feel. If we were to visually diagram how they see their feelings as coming about, it would look something like this. If you listen to everyday conversation, including that of teachers and parents, radio and TV personalities, famous athletes, and even the lyrics to popular music, you'll note that people more often than not talk as if the events of their lives make them feel the way they do. The vast majority of people have an external locus. There are some problems with having an external locus of control. First and foremost, it makes how you feel depend on people and events in your life that you really can't and don't control. Because of that, it seems like others and events can make you feel bad and there's not much you can do to prevent it. or to feel better. Second, it means that others and events in your life must change for the better in some way for you to feel better. The problem is those things may never change. For example, suppose someone thinks having an alcoholic father makes her feel bad. It would be understandable if someone did feel bad under those circumstances, but what happens if her father never stops drinking and being abusive? Does that mean she can never feel better? In essence, believing that events cause feelings puts people at the mercy of their life events, and they often end up feeling like victims of their circumstances with no hope of feeling better. That's never a good place to be or place to end up. For reasons we'll explain later on, people with an external locus of control end up giving others power and control over how they feel that those others really don't have. They give away their real power and control over how they feel that they do have, usually without realizing it. The end result is that they end up feeling worse than they need to for longer than necessary. And most of all, it typically causes people to miss many opportunities to feel better. This in turn can give more purpose to unhealthy and self-defeating behaviors like smoking, drinking, using drugs, violence, attempting suicide, and so on. And it makes people more likely to have mistaken goals. Consider all the people on this list. Don't they all tend to believe that the events of their lives make them feel the way they do and cause their feelings? And don't they all tend to believe that there's not much they can do to feel better? The real formula for feelings is event plus thoughts equals feelings. You have an event, which can be internal or external, real or imagined, and you add your thoughts to what happens, and that is what really causes. We can sum up that relationship by saying thoughts cause feelings, not events. It's like that algebraic formula we all learned in math class. A plus B equals C, where A is a constant and B is a variable. If A stays the same and you change B, C changes. Likewise, if an event stays the same and you change the way you think about it or look at it, your feelings change, perhaps for the better, perhaps for the worse. Even at something as serious as a funeral, we see this formula play out. Someone has passed away. That doesn't change. However, there are times when people are crying their eyes out, times when they are laughing, and other times when they simply seem comforted in some way. What changes from moment to moment? It's what they're thinking at any given moment. And as time goes by, most people are able to get past the loss of a loved one or friend because they simply start thinking about it less than they did when it first happened. Or they think about their loss in a way that brings them some closure or comfort. Over a half century ago, Dr. Ellis developed his ABC theory of emotions. A represents an activating event, something that someone said or did or that happened. It can be an internal, external event. It can be real or imagined. B stands for the beliefs that people have about the event, or perhaps themselves, others, in life. C stands for consequences, or what people feel and do as a consequence of what they believe and feel about the activating event. If you put these terms into a formula, it would look something like this. If you diagram the way feelings really come about, it would look like this. Events can be external or internal, real or imagined. Regardless of which they are, it's what someone thinks that really causes how they feel. Here's a simple example to demonstrate how this might work. Suppose a young girl and a guy get into a fight about whether to have sex or not. No one likes to get into fights with someone they care about. But a large part of the activating event for this young girl might be what she starts to imagine will happen because of the fight. For example, that he will break up with her if she doesn't do what he wants, and perhaps even go out with someone else, and even do something sexual with the other girl instead. She might also imagine that if he broke up with her for not doing it, he'd spread rumors about her, and others might believe them, and then not want to go out with her, and she might then imagine that ultimately she'd end up alone. Now, suppose she said, "So what? Who cares? I'm tired of him smothering me anyways. I can never do what I want. I can never be with my friends anymore." If she said that to herself, she might even be relieved by the prospect of him breaking up with her. However, if she thought, "I'd just die if he broke up with me. I need to be with him. I couldn't stand seeing him with someone else," or the thought of him doing it with someone else instead of me, she'd probably end up very anxious and be more likely to do anything to keep him from leaving. The point is that it's really what she thinks about what happens, or that might, that really determines how she feels, and not what someone else says or does, or that happens. So what are the selling points for developing an internal locus of control? First, it's having real power. Real power is not getting angry and taking a swing at someone. Real power is being able to choose if or when you are going to get angry, how angry you're going to get, and how long you're going to stay angry. Developing an internal locus of control gives you that power. Second, you stop giving away the real power and control that you do have. People give away the real power and control they have by making an event, what others say and do, or what happens, out to be the sole cause of how they feel, when it's really not. Third, it's about being in control. If one person makes himself mad and another person can remain calm, who's really in control? Ever play that game, I know you are, but what am I, as a child? Someone gets all upset, calls you name after name, one name after another, and you just keep saying, I know you are, but what am I, with a big smile on your face. And the more you do that, the madder they get, and the more names they call you. Didn't you feel in control when that happened? Fourth, it's about feeling the way you want to feel, instead of being at the mercy of the events of your life or feeling bad because someone else wants you to. It is possible to do that. Fifth, if someone's intention was to see you feel bad, perhaps to get even with you for some real or imagined transgression on your part, then isn't the best way to get even, to live well, to choose to not feel as bad as they hoped you would? A last selling point is that having an internal locus of control makes you smarter than most people around you. If you develop one, you get it, when so many others don't. You understand how feelings really come about and can use that knowledge to your advantage instead of basing your life on the big lie that so many people live by. That lie being that what others say and do and what happens is really what makes you feel bad. In the next session, we'll talk about where the power we do have comes from and how we can use that to make ourselves feel better. Remember that you can find most of what we talk about at itsjustanevent.com. And you can read about how to develop mental and emotional fitness in the book entitled It's Just an Event, It's Your Choice How You Want to Feel by Ray Mathis, which is available at Amazon.com, itsjustanevent.com, or PublicAmerica.com's online bookstore.